In a recent telephone interview with Sean Hannity, Donald Trump weighed in on Rayshard Brooks getting shot and killed by a cop in Atlanta. He was shot in the back, 2 bullets hit him in the back as he was running away from the cops. And here's what Trump had to say about that case.
The event that took place yesterday I thought it was a terrible situation, but you can't resist a police officer. And, if you have a disagreement, you have to take it up after the fact. It was a very sad, very, very sad thing. And it's up to justice right now. It's going to be up to justice. I hope he gets a fair shake, because police have not been treated fairly in our country. They have not been treated fairly. But again, you can't resist a police officer like that. And they ended up in a very terrible disagreement. And look at the way it ended. Very bad, very bad.
So I just want to note that when Trump references what happened yesterday, he's referring to the criminal charges that were filed against the 2 cops who were involved in that shooting. The officer who shot Brooks was charged earlier with murder and aggravated assault in the case. The district attorney said that Rolf, that's the cop who did the shooting, kicked Brooks after he was shot while his partner stood on the victim's shoulder. The 2 did not give first aid for more than 2 minutes, prosecutors said. But Trump, I guess, believes that police should be able to shoot and kill you if you do not pose an imminent threat to them, but happen to be running away from them and resisting arrest.
The cop's attorney said, well, you shot him in the back because that was the part that was presenting to the officer. Yeah, that means he was running away from you, and you did not need to shoot him in the back. So it's of course telling, if you still didn't know, that Trump defends the officer who shot the civilian in the back, as opposed to being more concerned about the person who died needlessly. We all know that he was resisting arrest, but that's not the point. The point is, he was running away, did not have a deadly weapon. Cops have said 1,000 times over that a taser is not a deadly weapon because they use it on civilians all the time, and don't want to be charged with using a deadly weapon. And so for him to be fairly unconcerned with the dead person and more concerned about protecting the officers after they shot him shows you all you need to know about Donald Trump. But that jury has come in. I mean, a majority of the country now believes flat out that the president of the United States is a racist. A plurality of white people in the country think he's racist. A significant percentage of Republicans even now think he's racist. So this is what leads them to that. When a black guy gets shot in the back and he seems unconcerned, except to protect the shooters.
And of course, let's not pretend like we don't know that it's not the bug, it's the feature for many on the right. But with that said, Trump in the middle of this interview decided to float something that we're hearing from the defense attorneys representing the cops in this case, and it's utter nonsense. And I'll tell you why when we come back from this clip.
You take a look, it was out of control. The whole situation was out of control. I heard today and just got a report that the police officer's lawyer said that he heard a sound like a gun, like a gunshot, and he saw a flash in front of him. So that's an interesting, I don't know that I would have necessarily believed that, but I will tell you that's a very interesting thing, and maybe that's so. They're gonna have to find out.
Yeah, they found out when they checked his body, when they searched his body for weapons, that he did not have a gun. So yeah, that little investigation prior to the cop deciding to shoot him in the back as he was running away is relevant. They knew he was not armed with a gun. Now he managed to take away the taser from one of them, and so he did have a taser, but a taser is a non-lethal weapon. So again, the question is, are we comfortable with cops shooting and killing people in any case other than whether that person poses an imminent threat? In this case, we know Brooks did not pose an imminent threat. We know he did not have a lethal weapon on him. And we know that 2 gunshots to his back is what led to his death. So it's just, and this is what Trump does. He floats conspiracy theories, or he floats ridiculous talking points and pretends as if like, I don't know. This is very interesting. I'm not sure if I believe it, but I don't know. Maybe it's interesting, should be looked into. That's the way he communicates, and it's not an accident.
Yeah, I mean, he was more concerned about Colin Kaepernick taking a knee than he was about the Derek Chauvin taking a knee on George Floyd's neck that killed him. It's super obvious. It's in all of his statements and all of his tweets. He barely said anything about George Floyd dying. He then went on a tirade against protesters and said they should be roughed up more. And then he did rough them up in Washington. And again, he used the opportunity to say that Kaepernick was wrong and he shouldn't be taking a knee. He's done it 1,000 times. He said in Charlottesville that there's very fine people on both sides, including the side that had the Nazis and the Confederate supporters. And he recently told the Chinese, hey, way to go on the concentration camps that you've set up for Muslims. So presumably there's very fine people on the concentration camp side. And now he's going out of his way to make up conspiracy theories to help the people who shot the black guy in the back. And a perfunctory, oh, it's a shame what happened, but look, I mean, he resisted police, meaning he had it coming. And then here, I'll do an assist for the defense by making up a theory that isn't remotely true to help again the cops who shot him in the back, as opposed to the African-American guy that they shot. None of this is subtle. The guy has deep-seated racism and believes that he could win a national election because he thinks America also is deeply racist. I think he's going to be proven wrong by a little bit.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.